Hey, Alex, the real estate dude here with another episode of Working Alaska with a Northfork Supply Company. In this show, we build context around the owners and the businesses in Alaska, so we're going to talk to this dude.
How you doing? It's Eric Northfork. Just going to tell you my stories, what I'm told to start with. So I'm going to start when I was a baby. I was born in New Jersey. I can't say anything good or bad about New Jersey. I spent about 2 years. I don't remember much from that.
Are you a sports fan?
I'm not a sports fan, except for back in the day I used to follow the Texas Rangers,
Okay,
Dallas Cowboys.
fair. I thought you said you were from New Jersey.
And so my dad was a businessman, and we traveled every couple of years. We either moved or got fired, and to keep from being fired, you either climb the ranks, if you will, by getting promoted, but you had to move. So we moved from New Jersey to Texas, and my dad's from Texas, his family's from Texas, my mom's from southern Georgia. So all my family's really from the South.
So you have an excuse to follow those sports.
I have an excuse to follow the Dallas, Texas, the Rangers, the Cowboys. And then by the time I hit college, where I went to college in Clemson, South Carolina, Clemson alumni, basically the only sport I follow is college football now.
Okay.
And
so
that's
you follow college football?
Only Clemson college football.
Thank you.
Only Clemson college football.
As a Raiders fan, we drafted all of your players.
I realize that. I realize that.
So we're the NFL Clemson Tigers right now.
That's what I hear.
I'll take it.
That's what I hear. Yeah, they're good players. But good coach, Dave Sweeney. But anyway.
So, born in New Jersey, then you moved to Texas.
Born in New Jersey, moved to Texas, lived there for a while, like 7-8 years. It's a really long time for my dad at that company.
Okay.
And then we moved to Ohio, a little town outside of Columbus called Pickerington, and then Toledo was where I finished high school, and then I went into Clemson for college.
Okay. So, a question I always ask, how did you do in school? Were you one of like the super good school kids, like A's and B's? Were you like, fuck school, it sucks? Were you like, where were you in that picture?
I was the fuck school, it sucks, work really hard, barely get A's and B's. If I was lucky, a C here and there, just to keep my parents, on track.
Keep them on their toes.
Right. And I played sports 24/7, but the only sport I played was soccer.
Okay.
So I know that's completely different from college football. But and when I graduated high school, I joined the Army, in the South Carolina Army National Guard and the Artillery.
Okay.
And so just strategically, I couldn't get into Clemson as far as grades-wise and everything else, right? Didn't have the grades, didn't have the smarts, that kind of shit, but I wanted to go to a top-notch school, and I wanted to be Clemson. I did a tour of all the southern schools, if you will, and just fell in love with Clemson. Beautiful college.
Okay.
So long story short, I joined the South Carolina Army National Guard. That got me into Clemson ROTC, but Clemson ROTC got me into Clemson because Clemson told me I wasn't smart enough to go to landscape architecture school.
Okay.
And they said, well, they wouldn't return the retention guy, or whatever you want to call it, the guy that was admissions, would not return phone calls to ROTC. They said, we want this guy. He's already in the National Guard. We think he's going to be a great asset to our program, blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't return phone calls. Finally, he sat down outside of his door and waited for him to leave one day. He's like, look, I can't accept in the landscape architecture program. That's smart people in there. I can't make this work. Do you think you'd have a problem with forestry? Well, nobody asked me, and the next thing you know, I'm a forestry major at Clemson University. They said, stupid people can do forestry. Sorry, forestry folks. And then by the time I got to Clemson, they had opened up basically a second class of landscape architects that year, and that's how I got into Clemson and landscape architecture.
So you started forestry, right? Then you graduated with landscape architecture?
So I got admitted into the Clemson forestry program.
Got it.
But by the time the first semester started, they had too many kids for the landscape architecture program, and because I'd already introduced myself to the dean, made all the hard work that nobody thinks about doing, touring the school, calling the college professors of the actual classes you want, the admissions officer, meeting with them, all the stuff that people don't think about doing anymore.
Yeah. Because
we can just write a letter and get hopefully our grades are good enough. No.
I have a feeling that's going to tie into what you got going on here.
Yeah, that's just not how it works. I mean, if you know anything about life, you can sit by and let it pass you by, or you continue to fight and you can get to where you want to be. And so basically what ended up happening was they let me in.
Okay.
Because they opened up a whole nother 30 students. They only have 30 students a year, and I had 60. First year was 60 students, and I barely graduated. I think that was, I think they probably, on hindsight, wouldn't have let me in.
Okay.
Because I barely graduated. I mean, like the last 4 semesters, I was taking 21 credit hours, just trying to freaking get the classes that I didn't take the first couple of semesters, because I hate math, so that's why I wasn't an engineer.
why were you doing crappy at the end of high school? Was it because you just hated it? Or
No, I just was not a good student.
Okay.
I'm just not that smart.
Okay.
So I had to work twice as hard as like the guys that didn't study. I was the guy studying all the time, trying to get my A's and B's.
Okay.
And then the same thing at Clemson. I studied, but I also had a lot of things going on. So I had at that time it was the guard, and I had the ROTC in the mornings. You know, nobody else had to wake up at fucking 5 a.m.
Right.
I was up at 5, getting to PT, that kind of crap. And then being an architecture major, you work constantly. I mean, it was a joke that you would see a football game going on, the whole stadium would be packed, and you would see the architecture program in the studio with the lights on, people still working. And that's honestly God truth, and Clemson football is God in the South.
And only the architecture.
And only the architecture guys are still stupid enough to still be in class working. And that's just kind of like a joke, but it was true.
Okay.
You know, because you had to get shit done, and it's kind of like architecture, art, humanities, that kind of stuff. It's all kind of art, if you will, right? So everything is the eye of the beholder. Well, the eye of the beholder is your professor. And when you're spending 6 to 8 hours a day in that studio trying to make your grade, his opinion or her opinion matters.
Right.
So it's it kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of fluctuated here and there.
So you got a lot of shit going on in college.
Right.
Where does the entrepreneurial side come in? Where does the own a business, own Northfork Supply Company?
You know, I don't think I ever thought about that kind of shit growing up.
Okay.
My uncle was a multimillionaire, but he didn't start that way. You know, he was always kind of one of my what do you want to call it, mentors, if you will.
Okay.
Kind of like a second dad. You know, my dad made sure I knew right from wrong and made sure everything was right. But you know, your uncles were always cool, right? And I had the cool crazy uncle, if you will, that we used to drink a lot of beer with, and then I had the not as cool crazy uncle that was really cool, but was just like a second dad. You know, he was always making sure you were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, asking you the right questions, making you make the hard decisions, that kind of stuff. Telling you all about how you should save your money, how you should do the right thing, that kind of stuff.
So was he a multimillionaire from climbing a corporate ladder, or did he own a business, or where?
So he did both. He climbed the corporate ladder of Aflac, built the whole international Aflac chain in Japan.
Okay. From
the start to all the way to the top. And once he got to the top, they're like, hey, it's all family. And he eventually got out of that, retired from that, if you will. When I say retired, they asked him to leave and said, you know, hey, we're all paying. He's not going any higher. So he took his money and went somewhere else and built a multi-million-dollar RV park in Florida, believe it or not.
Okay.
In a little place called Destin, which now is a really big place, but back in the day when I was going there, it was like this white trash little hole in the wall. It was fantastic. I mean, you could get meat and 3 at like 90% of the diners there for under $5, you know, and it was just, it was a beautiful place. Now, because it's so beautiful, it's now like, I think they call it the Redneck Riviera now. You know what I mean? It's like the place where, like Rosie O'Donnell has got a freaking house there. I mean, John Travolta, all the people have a place on the beach and all these different places. And it's still pretty, but it's just super popular.
So that's where, I mean, there's at least someone in your immediate family that's got the same blood as you, the same.
Well, they've got the grind.
Yeah.
You know, they're not afraid to work. And they're like, you're not going to make $1 today, you're not going to make $1 tomorrow. And hopefully, if you're lucky, you might make $5 in a year.
Yeah.
You know, and that's entrepreneurship in a nutshell, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So let's go back. Graduate. Did you get the architect, the landscape architect?
Yeah, I got my degree 5 years later. And the joke is it took 5 years. No, it's a 5-year program. So legitimately, I was allowed to take 5 years, right?
Okay.
I think I knew 2 students that graduated a semester early from a 5-year program. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
So I graduated, and then back towards, if we back up for how I got into Clemson, right? I busted my butt, made the right connections.
Yep.
Well, because I was in the Guard, and because when you graduate and commission with the Army Reserves or the Air Force, all those different things, you get put on an order merit list as an officer, right?
Yep.
And they let it be like 1 to 100, say, right?
Right.
And so the guys that are super smart, they get a 1.
Right.
Not so smart, they get 100, right?
Yeah.
And they get their choice, if you will, based on the need, what they call the needs of the Army, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
On what branch they want. And so it's kind of counterintuitive, if you will, because the smart guys, if you will, they place the top. What do they pick? Infantry. Now, I'm not an infantry guy. I have a love for the infantry people, but it doesn't make sense in my head, right?
Yeah.
It's like, if I'm super smart, wouldn't I pick a super smart job?
11 bang bang.
Right? So these guys are picking what I call the HUA series, right? You know, the Rangers, the airborne guys, everybody wants to be HUA. And, you know, they were all picking that, and I knew that I wasn't as smart as I wanted to be. I wasn't going to place as high as I wanted to do. So what did I do? I switched over to the reserves.
Okay.
Took an S&P, which is like a simultaneous membership program, so where you work with the Guard of the Reserves as a cadet, so like a junior officer,
Yep.
kind of officer in training, if you will, and you drill with them on your weekend status as an officer. You get paid a little bit more, and you're supposed to be learning officer type duties.
Right.
So fast forward, order of merit list comes out. If you already had yourself in a position, such as I changed from the artillery to the engineers, because I knew I wanted to be an engineer, because that falls in course with architecture, right?
Yep.
So I try to build my structure, right? You can let the Army run you over, or you can figure out how to make it work for you.
Right.
So I aligned myself with the engineers, and then coming out of college, when I received my commission, I commissioned to surprise the engineers. I didn't have to compete for the infantry, the artillery, or everything else, or get put like my buddy did, the bottom of his list, supply. And all he wanted to do was run around and kill people, right?
That hurts my heart.
Right. So
nobody wants to be supplied.
So he got supply. Fast forward 3 years later, he's out of the Army. You know what I mean? And we do that a lot. We do the needs of the Army versus the needs of the soldier, and then we end up screwing people over, and we can't understand why we can't keep soldiers in.
Yep.
But hey, so that goes back to, you can line yourself up for success, or you can set yourself up for failure.
Yep.
You can let the college admissions tell you no, you can't go to this college.
Yeah. Or you just keep going.
You can keep grinding and figure out how to get in the back door.
Yeah.
So I guess phase 2, where I'm in my back door, if you will, getting into the engineering corps, and I tell all my soldiers, even to this day, if you stick in, just keep showing up. You're going to continue to get promoted and make rank. It's the stupidest thing.
It is, absolutely.
But it's just about grinding and being up and showing up. And hopefully you don't have GOMARs and DUIs to hurt you from gaining rank.
Yeah, don't do dumb stuff, and keep showing up to work on time. Do some good PT.
And if you do dumb stuff, don't get caught.
Yeah, right. That's
right. It's counterintuitive.
So now you graduate from Clemson.
Graduate Clemson and
straight to Alaska.
I came straight to Alaska.
Okay.
So I hiked the Appalachian Trail for 2.5 months because that was a dream of mine. I'm like, you know what? I want to hike from point A to point B of the Appalachian Trail. Well, I'll tell you this. After hiking for about 1.5 months and seeing the same trees, walking by the same trees on the same trail, don't get me wrong, the scenery changes. You go from the Georgia mountains to the Tennessee to the Smokies, all these different things, and it changes a little bit, but at the end of the day, you're averaging 20 miles a day. You're losing weight like you can't even imagine. Yeah. You can't eat enough Snickers bars just to get your calories, and you're like, I don't even know why I'm doing this.
Yeah. 45 days of anything.
Right.
Like that, be like, man, it could be the most beautiful thing in the world. And
so,
like, man.
So the I don't know what you want to call it, the sexiness wore off. And then I came up here, moved up here for good, and said, I'd come up here for an internship in high school or in college.
Okay.
And that's why I came back up here.
Okay.
Just it's the most beautiful place I've ever been, and I'm like, you know what? I gotta live there. So all my family's on the East Coast and the South, and everybody wanted me to stick around, and it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So
Alaska was calling.
Right. So I came back up to the great state of Alaska. Lived here for about 3 years or so. Worked for 2 different engineering/landscape architecture firms. Kind of bounced around, if you will, and then started my own landscape architecture firm.
Okay.
With a former business partner, and I own the annex. I don't know if I told you that, in downtown Palmer.
Okay.
So it's kind of a collaborative workspace. A lot of people don't know that because I've kind of become a quiet partner with that, so to speak. We ripped that thing. We bought it from a borough. Ripped it stud to stud, put a new roof on, and then just opened it up. And that was a phenomenal exercise.
Yeah.
I went broke doing it, so to speak. But once we got it all turned around, we're pretty happy with it.
Yeah, now it's doing pretty good.
Now it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a long 1.5 years. And after that, during that process, I got married, had kids.
Okay.
Got a stepson who's in the other room, Zeph, you saw him. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a rough couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're failing at life, if you will, it's rough, it sucks, and we couldn't make landscape architecture work for us. For a family, when I was single and young, grinding by with $20,000, $30,000 a year, it's okay. Making those $100,000 a year, it's freaking awesome. But when you get a wife and kids, you just can't do that.
Yep. And
then the Army said, hey, you want to be a project engineer? We need some soldiers on active duty. Again, I was a captain in the Army at that time. Then I said, you mean come on active duty and make captain's pay? What do I got to do? And I'm like, well, just come to work. I need you to manage construction projects, which is what they expect captains in the military and the engineering corps to do. And I said, well, I can do that. And so literally, I come out of being an entrepreneur, if you will, grinding through, wondering where my next paycheck's coming through, and the Army blesses me again. Security.
That's health insurance, you got housing, you got food, you got
all of a sudden, I'm almost at $100,000 a year overnight.
Yep.
And it's like, holy fuck, man.
This is nice.
Like, and so I tell you, the Army just keeps giving if you want it to,
Mhm.
but you got to consistently make the effort.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think I had a little over 12 years in, and it was a point where I should have get off the pot. I wasn't doing much in the military.
Mhm.
The reserves wasn't my focus. I was trying to make the business work. It wasn't working. And all of a sudden, boom, I was able to fall back onto it. You know,
Okay.
by the grace of God. I couldn't tell you, why it happened. I couldn't tell
Mhm.
you. It was just the perfect, everything lined up, and I was super stoked. That lasted for 3 years. And then coming out of that, one of my buddies who worked for me in the military, we
Mhm.
worked together. He's an 11 Bravo.
Okay.
And just left first sergeant duties over at the old company I used to command. And he was selling his business. And I
Okay.
said, man, I like guns. I don't know enough about them. At that time, it was kind of coming out slowly. I don't think we saw it fully out of the black gun craze, if you will.
Mhm.
AR-15s were just, you couldn't keep them on the shelves,
Mhm.
At a gun show, you'd show up with like 15 ARs and they'd be gone in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Stuff like that, where it was just the glory days, so to
Yeah.
speak, right? And that's when I said, you know what? I don't want the whole company because I don't really know what to do with guns.
Mhm.
I grew up in the military. My dad and I grew up hunting, but it was always bird hunting. He didn't like rifles. He liked shotguns.
Yep.
And so it's a completely different mindset, right? And you've been in the military, right?
Yep.
So you shot an M16, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What do they tell you not to do at basic? What do they tell you not to do every time you touch one? Don't take apart the firing control group, right?
Mhm.
Don't do this, don't do that. Well, clean the whole thing, but don't do all this stuff. And I don't think it was till I actually sat down with Ryan and bought into the company 50% that I'd actually built one from the ground up.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna lie, the first time I did it, probably the most frustrating thing I'll ever do.
That's why they say don't take it apart.
That's why they say don't take it apart, because you can't get it back together. It sucks putting it together.
Mhm.
It's frustrating as all hell if you've never done it before.
Yeah.
And that was like an aha moment, like, holy fuck, man, there's a little bit more to this building of an
Yeah.
AR. It's not for
Yeah.
the dumb rednecks, if you will, like a lot of people make it out to be. And there's a lot of customization to them.
So did you retire from the military and then buy into this, or where's that?
So I have been what happens in the Army Reserves, the Guard, that kind of stuff, is they have a job listing, right? And you can go online and you can see all these different jobs across the country, across the world, where they need somebody for 10 days, 2 months, 6 months,
Yep.
1 year,
Yep.
and you can apply for them. And you can be a specialist, an E1, E2, E3,
Mhm.
all the way up to a colonel or a general officer in the Army.
Yep.
You apply for it just like you would any other type of job. You got to put in your resume.
Mhm.
It's much harder because you got to put in all your medical data, all this other stuff that you have to put in there, and then they filter all through the applicants, or they know exactly who they want,
Mhm.
and they tell you put your name in and we'll select you, right? I
Mhm.
mean, I'm sure it's not official. I'm sure you probably can't do it exactly like that,
Right.
but there is this like job title series, and for this one, I was actually kind of selected. I was told, hey, I need you to come talk to these guys. We got a perfect job for you.
Okay.
It just aligned to where they wanted me to come. I showed up, had a really good interview. I mean, I wasn't even dressed in uniform.
Mhm.
I mean, I showed up in civilians,
Mhm.
hung out, and it was a good time. I mean,
Okay.
I knew most of the guys there because I used to actually solicit them for business because they had the projects that I wanted to work on, right?
Right.
So it was really awkward sitting in a room with guys that used to be asking for money, if you will, for projects so I could, design them.
Mhm.
And now I'm getting an interview from them, trying to get a job,
Yeah.
so to speak, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really weird. So at any time you can jump off of an active duty tour onto an active duty
Mhm.
tour, and that's what that job listing allows you to do.
So that's where you're at right now. You're doing
That's-
that on top of this.
No, I was.
Okay.
And you can only do it for 3 years at a time. You have to come off for a year and you go back on. So they kind of call it like tour baby or like I don't know what you want to call it, deployment hopping. So I mean, you can even do it in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's how a lot of people do it, make a lot of money.
Mhm.
But it's probably not the safest or easiest way to do it.
Yep.
And this one was actually on J-Bear.
Okay.
So as opposed to deploying, I'm just driving to J-Bear every day,
It's nice.
right?
Makes
Fast
sense.
forward,
Yeah.
my
family,
job,
makes sense.
yeah, my job expires, if you will, 3 years later, and they had an opening for a project engineer doing the same thing I'm doing.
Mhm.
So I applied for it and got it.
Perfect.
So what I'm doing now is, in my day job, if you will, I manage construction projects for the Corps of Engineers,
Okay.
which is amazing, don't get me wrong, it's a great job. And then Ryan and I, after about a year or so of me running gun shows and things like that, because he just didn't have enough time. That's
Mhm.
why he was selling the whole business, and I convinced him to stay. Hindsight, I probably should have bought the whole thing out,
Mhm.
because I think I just frustrated more than anything else, because he's like, man, I don't have time to keep doing this.
Mhm.
And then after about a year, he's like, man, if you want to buy me out, I wouldn't be unhappy.
Mhm.
Because he wasn't helping, not because he couldn't, because he just didn't have time.
Right.
He was doing the first sergeant duties, he had a full-time job,
Mhm.
and when you're a first sergeant company commander, you're just slammed.
Slammed.
Yeah, it
Anybody
just
does
blows.
anything dumb, you're doing it.
Well,
Like all the planning, all the everything.
Yeah, it's
Everything's on your
probably
shoulders.
one of the worst and best jobs in the military as a company
Yeah,
commander.
that's what I've heard from all of my
It's,
first sergeants and private commanders.
and it's a lot worse than being a lieutenant, because a lieutenant you can fuck up still.
Mm-hmm.
You can cause all kinds.
Yeah.
You're still in charge.
No
but-
expectations.
But nobody cares what you do. I mean, they
Yeah.
do, but they don't. You can get out of the way with murder.
Mm-hmm.
But as a company commander, you're in charge of like anywhere between, I think his minimum was like 30 to like 160, 260 soldiers. You know, you can suck balls.
Yeah.
But that's probably not politically correct.
That's
Apologize about that.
It's fine. so now you're doing that. You're owning Northfork Supply Company. You bought out the previous owner, so now you own it 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And so one day I was shooting, and so in what they call a competitive shooting series, you know, they've got 2-gun, 3-gun, they've got steel challenge, that kind of stuff. And so a lot of the friends and people that we've grown up with in the military for the past 20 years or so, because I've got 18 years in the military now.
Okay.
So for the past 20 years or so, a lot of the guys we've grown up with, they're now starting to retire, or they are retired, or they were the company commander, or they were the battalion commander, or they were the first sergeant, or they were the sergeant major. Well, a lot of people retired here. So a lot of your 11 Bravo guys, all those things. Well, a lot of them were friends with Ryan, the previous owner. And so I met a lot of them, and then I started shooting with them. And it's kind of a misnomer when they call it competition shooting. Because you get out there, and the minimal training we've had in the Army, if you will, like the basic rifle marksmanship, a lot of these yahoos haven't even had. And so you've got these guys out there doing competition shooting, and they're not any better than you. Now the only difference is if you've had any training in handgun training, which the military doesn't train you in.
Barely.
Like they may show you like, this is a handgun, don't touch it, right?
Yeah, shoot these
Right.
pop-up targets, now give it to me.
So that's like the only training you've ever had with handguns. You'll probably outshine the handguns, but on the rifles, you'll school people. And they're like, oh my God, you're such a good shot. I'm like, shit, I've never shot with a scope before except for hunting.
Yeah.
You know, and you're shooting like targets the size of people. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So it was a lot easier for us.
Yeah.
Well, this is an active gun store, so
We're gonna keep going.
you're going to hear some dings and some whistles, and that's our alarm system. And we've got guys coming in to buy some guns, look at stuff on the wall. So welcome, sir. Don't mind us. We're just filming a YouTube / live
Podcast.
channel.
Yeah.
You can say hey. You can say hi.
Down in here.
How's it going, man?
Okay, so perfect time. Let's transition into what do you have going on here? What is your plan for this place? What's
Sure.
So I definitely want to talk about that class, but
Sure.
what are the events? What kind of services you provide?
Sure. So when we started the gun business, we were all black guns, if you will.
Okay.
Parts and pieces. I bought in. We started dealing with what they call the FFL side, which is the actual handguns, the lower receivers, the things that you have to have an actual license, the things that are tracked for, right?
Okay.
We got into that, and shooting competition stuff, again, just shooting with a bunch of yahoos, so to speak, right? Buddies and stuff like that, retired military people, a lot of fun. One of them approached me and said, hey man, I'd love to be able to get an STI. And I'm like, I don't know what an STI is. So I Googled him, he goes, I bet you can't get one, right? Well, and this was like, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago. He goes, I bet you can't get one. But I don't like people telling me I can't do something or telling me I bet you can't, right? So I go look him up.
We went over that already.
Right. Yeah, so I go look up who these guys are, and like there's this company out of Texas, and they make pretty expensive guns, and I'm like, oh, well, shit, those are expensive. So I called the guy, and I said, he's like a tri-state dealer, if you will. He gets dealers on board with STI and then turns them over to STI. And this is like 3 or 4 years ago. I said, so what does it cost to be an STI dealer? Well, at that time, I think it was 5 or 6 guns, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, I don't have like, I don't know, $20,000. So put a bunch together, a bunch of guys, and said, hey, who wants an STI? I'll give you a 5% discount. And at the end of the day, I ended up selling 5 guns, got them in here, we moved them, and so I didn't have to incur all the cost, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like a buy-in group, so to speak. Next thing you know, I'm an STI dealer.
Okay.
First year we were like our bare minimum, like $20,000 in guns. Second year we hit $100,000. This year we're looking at over, I'm hoping to get around 400,000. We'll see. But if I can get between 100 and 400,000, I'm happy, right?
Right.
And in 90, I say 90%, at least 70% of the gun sales from STI, which is my main gun sale, is lower 48. And you're like, that's crazy, right? How does a man ship a gun to Alaska, turn around, ship it all the way back down? You ever called somebody and they're like, man, this motherfucker won't get back to me? Yeah.
All the time.
90% of the time in Alaska, right?
99% of the time.
Turns out it's not just Alaska, it's also the lower 48. And so you got all these different gun stores, and everybody's competing, trying to sell these things. And don't get me wrong, even though like it's people think that selling guns you can make a lot of money. It's actually pretty cutthroat. At any time on a gun sale, you look at 20%. So if you know anything about retail, 20% is pennies.
Pennies.
But
Yeah.
when you're moving a $4,000 gun, those pennies add up really quickly, right? So STI is one of those niche type guns, but there's not a lot of people selling them because it's expensive to get into. I don't even know what the buying group now is. I think it's more than that now. So it's like a crap ton of money.
Okay.
And I think
lighter than RPR.
this year at SHOT Show, I think I spent over 30,000
Okay.
just in STI.
Crap.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And within 5 days, I sold almost 20,000 of those.
Okay.
Right? 5 days of buying 30,000 guns, I already sold 20,000, right?
So I think we're gonna get into that here in a second about like someone said, hey, you can't get an STI,
Right.
so then you figure out a way to get it.
Right, so I figured out a way to get it.
Yeah.
And to get it.
To get it.
To get it.
Got it.
Forget about it. And then all of a sudden, I'm just blowing up with STIs. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Right? And when I started the company, or started into the company, we had this mindset of like, hey, well, we'll just put it on credit cards and we'll pay it off, right?
That's how every good business starts.
Right. Next thing we know, we're like, oh, well, sometimes we break even, sometimes we get charged too much. Eventually, we usually get rid of the guns. Well, I'm not gonna lie, for the first probably 6 months, I had what I think every gun owner has. Man, that's a cool gun, I'll buy that. Well, that's a good deal, I'll buy that. Not remembering, hey, motherfucker, I gotta sell this gun. The next thing you know, you're like, man, I got a stack of guns, this is cool. And all of a sudden, I gotta sell these guns. And I'm like, shit. And that's kind of when I started dealing STI to hit me, is if you can become a niche, right? And I didn't even know I know what a niche was, right? And we've all like attended those business courses, or we've seen like Gary V, talk on Instagram and stuff like that, and find out what your passion is and crush it, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say guns are my passion; it's turned into my passion, right? But my passion is sales. It's grinding. I enjoy working, and I enjoy shooting. But probably not as much as like 90% of the people out there, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who enjoy it a lot more than I do. I just think it's cool as shit, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I had to find what works. And for me, buying a Glock and selling a Glock, you make between 50 to 150 bucks, right?
Okay.
Now a Glock costs you maybe anywhere between like, say 500 and 800 bucks, depending on what type of Glock, how fancy it is, all that jazz, right?
Right.
However, the guy next door can buy a Glock. And why can he buy one? Because there's no requirements. You don't have to buy $20,000 of fucking Glocks to sell Glocks,
Like
right?
the STI.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there's other companies out there. Guncrafter, very similar. You got to buy at least 2 or 3. Well, guess what? Each one of them costs $4,000 to $7,000 a piece.
Okay.
Right. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So you're into it. You're an investment now.
Cabot Arms. They're the Rolls Royce of 1911s. Like they've re-engineered the 1911, like 4 or 5 different parts and pieces. That when I started explaining it to you, you're like, oh my god, I didn't know that was possible. Why would you do that? Well, because it's smarter. And you're like, well, who is Cabot? You've probably seen the Trump 45, the gold, plated like 1911 if you want to. Maybe it's made out of gold. I don't know. It's fucking expensive. That's a Cabot arm.
Okay.
You probably heard of the craziness, the what is it? The meteorite 1911. I don't know if you saw that. It was like a couple years back. It came out.
Okay.
$4.5 million. It took a meteorite, cut it up, and made the entire 1911 out of a meteorite.
Jesus. Okay.
Like what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
That's a niche.
But those guys are very special. And so instead of competing against every Joe Schmo out there, because there's home-based FFLs that buy 1 or 2 guns a year, and they're an FFL and they're buying a Glock, and their neighbors like, hey man, I want a Glock. And next thing you know, he's buying the Glock for $1 over the cost.
Right.
You can't compete against that.
Right.
Now, do we carry Glocks here? Sure. Because people walk in and buy them.
Right.
But I'm not here to make money on selling Glocks.
Right.
I'm not here to compete. My niche, again, the only way I'm mildly successful in having a storefront is selling things that no one else wants to get.
Right. Yeah. No one else wants to put the work in.
Right.
And actually answering the phone.
Or freak out when something says it costs $20,000. Well, that sucks. It does suck. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I've gone broke. I've had to borrow money, and luckily we're still here today.
Yeah.
I can't say. I mean, it hasn't been easy.
So
I've been freaked out before.
Do you keep yourself alive by just sales, or I know you do a little bit of the classes and some other stuff? What are those other
So we
things
do a
that
lot
you
of different things. We're getting into classes this year.
Okay.
We're getting into women's classes. So people don't understand this, but women make up like 70% of the market. That's crazy.
This part here, I'm gonna cut out. So make it sound real good, so I can cut it out and make its own video. So sell the women's class to me.
So for me, I'm not gonna sit there just like I like being married. Not gonna lie, I love my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna go teach a women's class. I don't have the same curves. I don't have the same body parts. A male chauvinistic pig is not gonna sit there and teach a women's class, right?
Okay.
Got it. Because it would be very ignorant of me to think that I could tell a woman how to use her body and handle a gun.
Okay.
That being said, any man knows basic gun. We can teach one, but we bring people in that want to work with us.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got Luke, who's behind the counter right now, and then we've also got Jeremy, who's retired law enforcement.
Okay.
And those are our main guys that run what I'll call our basic courses.
Okay.
Now the female courses, we're going to handle those a lot separately. That way they feel comfortable.
And you're gonna bring female instructors.
Female instructors in, and we may even partner with already out there instructors with already established businesses, because I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, because I've already reinvented the wheel, if you will, with the niche market on handgun sales and high-end and things. Like the next step for us really is going to be the high-end rifle market.
Okay.
We're already the high-end with the AR market, but the AR is not really the high-end rifle market.
Okay.
I mean, there's like $7, $8, $10, $15, $20,000 rifles out there. Proof research barrels sell for like $2,000 a piece. The barrel, nothing else on there.
Okay.
But just a barrel. You know what I mean? So when you're looking at craziness, that's why we want people to come here.
Okay.
And the other side of it is people don't understand it. It's kind of like selling a used car. It's just kind of crazy. So you go to sell a used car, or you go to buy a new car, right? And you bring your old car, and you're like, well, I didn't want to trade it in, but man, that's a car I want. Well, next thing you know, you're trading in that car for pennies on the dollar, and that's the same way gun business works.
Okay.
And that's where I think 90% of gun businesses really make money, is if you have the rifle, the gun, whatever it is that somebody wants, and you take that other thing on trade. Now the trick is knowing who's going to buy that traded in gun, right?
Yeah.
But in general, you're able to undercut the market a little bit with that used gun.
Right.
And so it's just like so there's a lot of tactics, if you will, that you use in real estate that you use in gun sales.
Yeah.
A lot of tactics you use in like car sales that you use in gun sales.
Yeah, it's arbitrage. It's the same give and
all
take.
these different things. You just have to repackage it, right?
Yep.
And then spit it out so it works for you.
Yep.
But I mean, we've done the same thing with knives. Nobody carries a Medford knife and tool, right?
Okay.
So just a regular pocket knife. Well, and you're gonna look at me like that's not a regular fucking pocket knife. No,
It's exactly
it is. But I mean, that's a pocket knife, right? But that's a Northfork pocket knife. That's Medford knife and tool.
Yep.
This pocket knife.
Quality.
How much does it think it cost?
Giant. That pocket knife?
Yeah.
I have no idea what knives cost.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
what was
$100.
that? $100. Okay, good. So if you were gonna buy like I don't know, maybe one off the shelf and say Sportsman's Warehouse, you might pay $100. $625.
Jesus.
Sucks. That's a lot of money, right?
That can't
But
cost a dick. Anyway, we're good.
it's a lot of money, but it's quality. I mean, like, look how thick that thing is. You won't find a knife like that at Sportsman's Warehouse.
Yeah.
Again, that's the niche for us. This is our gun crafter. This is our STI of knives.
Okay.
And there's this whole separate knife world, if you will, that revolves around that. But the guy that's going to come in and spend $4,000 on a gun is going to spend $600 on a knife, right? Because this isn't going to break, and they're going to get what they want. It's like the guy that goes and buys a Mercedes. He's got no problem picking up a $2,000 package for that Mercedes for leather care and spray on the outside, right? The diamond coating, so to speak, right?
If they want that quality, they're going to come to
Those are
Northfork.
more of an Alaskan knife anyways. That's why actually one of the ones we just sold was to a guy who had a misfortune of falling into a crevice, had a cheaper pocket knife, was not able to chisel his way out. He's buying one of those Bedford knives because I've actually bushcrafted with mine.
Because it's going to land.
And
it's going to
split wood with it. It's a pocket knife and there's not even a mark on it. So for Alaskans, being how rough and remote we are, it's not only that, but it's having the quality equipment to comfortably navigate Alaska.
Okay.
And it is a big deal for that type of thing, especially with the Medford knife market.
Right.
And they're not throwaway knives.
So quality. You come to Northfork. Northfork Supply. You can expect quality.
You can expect high prices. But the high prices are not. You're not going to find a better price in the lower 40. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I'll go to the lower 40 and find a better price. No, we're the same price as everybody else. It's just we sell expensive toys.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. those niches, like we talked about the whole
It's the niche.
You're finding
Across
all
the
the
board.
niches.
Like I've got a 10. That's a $4,000 10 millimeter right there.
Okay.
That right there next to it, there's a Gun Crafter 10 mil. Right next to it, that's a Gun Crafter X2. But we're the only ones you'll ever buy it from in the state.
Okay.
Everybody else is gonna have to ship it in from out of state.
Okay.
The one next to it's a $5,000 carry gun, if you will, right, with a $600 optic.
So let's move this into the last part of our conversation is how do you get those things to move? Are you doing social media? Are you doing face to face? Is it just knowing people? Is it good database? Like,
It's really weird because everybody is really on this thing called Instagram, right?
Mm-hmm. Growing up, I didn't know what Instagram was.
There was no Instagram when you were growing up.
For me, college, it was Facebook.
Yep.
Until probably 3 years ago, it was still Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Instagram was this thing where people shared pictures, and I didn't freaking understand it.
There's even argument now in Alaska, Facebook. Still, it's like Facebook, Instagram there.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, I can't move anything on Facebook,
But you move it on Instagram.
but I can move the crap on Instagram.
Huh.
Because it's sexy pictures, right?
Is it running advertisements on Instagram or just posting up sexy pictures and people like it?
So let's go back to that topic.
Okay.
Running advertisements.
Uh-huh.
Being a gun store, I can't do any advertising on Facebook, Instagram, or anywhere else. They shut me down. It's illegal.
Oh,
it goes
yeah.
against policy, right?
Yeah.
So not even just that. Let's talk about credit card processing. 90% of credit card processors out there will not let me use them because I sell guns. Okay, I'm not selling drugs. I'm not illegal here.
Okay,
And I'm a
okay.
niche, right? So I'm not selling to the guy that's going to go buy a Glock or whatever and go shoot his wife or his kids or anything else. I'm selling to a very established person
Uh-huh.
that we're not really worried about in the gangbanger or whatever kind of community people want to get crazy about.
Uh-huh.
It's not your typical gun, right?
Mhm.
It's a very different. It's not even your black gun, right? It's not the gun that is very. And that's why I think we're successful. Is because we don't fall into those. This is the other reason why we're successful. I try to stay out of what I call blood money, right?
Okay.
Because you got those. Oh, a school shooting. Everybody buys guns.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's no school shooting. Oh, political. Somebody's talking about banning something. Everybody buys guns, right?
Right.
We don't fall into that. We just have this constant curve of selling
Right.
because we fall into a niche, right? So we're not falling into the political, the blood money, all the craziness, and it makes me feel better. And it helps me sleep at night.
Right.
But it also makes it super frustrating when you're telling me I can't use a credit card processor, right? So I have to find one that's Second Amendment friendly, and it just frustrates me. So like before, I was very apolitical. Like I didn't have a side. Everybody's got a good side and a bad side, right? I was like, well, some liberals have some good points. Well, some Republicans have some good points. And now it's like I think everybody's crazy.
Yeah.
I just want to be left alone, be able to do my job,
Right, yeah.
and sell guns. And
Let me
so
run
it's-
my business.
Right.
That's
It's
it.
not even credit card process. What is it?
PayPal.
The PayPal. I can't use PayPal.
They
Right.
shut us down.
So
Okay.
what else
Okay.
is QuickBooks?
Okay.
Oh, so you just want basic accounting software.
Can't do it.
Can't do that
Huh.
because their processor is anti-gun.
So running back to the social media thing, are you using social media or Instagram just to sell guns? Or are you
Just to
using
sell pictures of guns, right?
Okay.
And then they see that and they go, man, I've never seen one of those. Of course you have, because they're rare, right? There's only like maybe, and I mean when I say rare, like Cabot's probably got 50 dealers, right? And they're like the Rolls Royce 1911s. That's like the cream of the crop. I don't know anybody better than Cabot right now. I'm sure there are. And somebody's gonna look at me and that dude's really ignorant. Yeah,
Yeah.
I am. Right? And then there's like STI, and there's a lot of dealers. Like there's a lot of dealers in the lower 48, but there's not a lot of big dealers. There's
Okay.
probably, if I had to pick 5, there's probably 5 big STI dealers in the lower
Okay.
48. And now I'm starting, because I hit the social media so much with just sexy pictures of that, and then when people go, well, who'd you buy that from? Well, Eric. So why do guys in Texas buy from this guy in Alaska? Well, I get back to them. When they call, I return them. When they have a problem, I fix it, right?
Yeah.
And when
Service.
when something happens, and I say, look, this is a deal. I won't go back on it. That's my honor, my word, and everything else. I've actually lost money on deals because I misspoke.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit there and try to screw somebody and be like, oh yeah, it's only $10 or whatever it is, and they come in the store, oh well, that was yesterday's price. Today it's $150, and they're like,
Right.
Maybe we do have sales, and that's different, but I'm not here to screw anybody over.
Right.
If you're going to get a good price, it's going to be here.
Right.
You know.
Ethical business. It's,
Correct, and,
right.
and it's,
good
it's
service, answering
amazing.
that phone.
Like I've got guys who've never met me in South Carolina, and I went to Clemson in South Carolina, but North Carolina, Georgia. I've got clients all over these different places. Never met me,
Huh.
and they'll only come to me
They
for
swear
guns.
by you.
I've got guys
Huh.
coming to me for Glocks.
Yeah. And you get
Why?
Glock anywhere.
And you can get a Glock anywhere, and you can get your neighbor to give it to you for free almost, right? Because of customer service and everything else. So, and we sponsor shooters as well. So I sponsor shooters, I sponsor shooting groups.
Okay.
So we run gun raffles. Well, gun raffles are legal. Why? Gambling's illegal, right? Unless what? Talk about niches, right? How do you actively look at doing something legal? You partner with a nonprofit.
Okay.
So we partner with the Alaska Gun Collectors Association.
Okay.
We take a sexy gun like a $4,000 gun crafter.
Like that
We raffle it off, right? We facilitate a raffle for a nonprofit who has a gaming license when now it's legal, right? We don't sell a gun online. They still have to go through the whole process of background checks and everything else. There's nothing illegal happening.
Right.
And ATF, like people get mad at gun shops, like we're the ones causing problems. ATF, your federal government gives you the rules we have to follow, and they tell us each and every person we can transfer a gun to.
So
Right.
once again, the theme of this whole conversation is figuring it the fuck out. Right?
It's finding out how to do it, and when somebody says you can't, well, why can't you? You know, ask the hard questions.
Right.
Get into some of those very difficult conversations, like Luke and I said. Well, this is like a gentleman's shop, if you will, right? You're gonna come here sit down, have a nice cigar, sit on a comfy couch,
On a leather couch.
On a leather couch. You know, we're not gonna kick you out because you've been sitting here half a day.
Right.
Sometimes I'll talk to Luke at the end of the day. He's like, "Yeah, dude, so and so was here for 6 hours." Well, hold him a jeebers.
It's talking.
He was bored. He wanted to come hang out and talk. That's what this place is for.
Right.
It's a man cave away from home, right?
Throw a game of darts.
You can get a dartboard.
You even got a dartboard. You can throw a game of darts here. You know, the only thing we can't do, and we're trying to figure this out, is how do I pour a nice fine glass of whiskey or scotch for a guy looking at a $5,000 gun? That would make it a little bit better, wouldn't
I've been on the phone with ABC. I'm trying to figure out the logistics on this to make it possible.
That would be awesome.
And there's a way to make it happen, right? But I don't know what that is, right? But you have to make it legal.
Right.
So you have to ask the hard questions. Do you have to skirt the rules? No. But you have to find out what the rules are and push them, right?
Right.
Just like there is this loophole, if you will, in all these gun sales and everything else. There's all kinds of loopholes, right? Then you got to figure out if those loopholes that you're using, are they worth it if I get busted? So I may win the fight today, but tomorrow when I'm in ATF and I are in court, is it going to be worth it?
Right.
And so 90% of those loopholes aren't even worth it, right? But some of the loopholes are okay. And so you just got to figure out what you're comfortable with. You know what I mean?
So to wrap this up a little bit, quality service, not taking no for an answer, and sexy pictures on Instagram. And
Instagram sells.
Finding a niche.
It's
Those
crazy.
4 things. That's how you're successful in your business.
So here's another thing.
And you got that beautiful beard behind the desk.
Well,
we'll get that on video. We'll just get you to flash by.
anytime you've got a beard like that, things are going good. So the other thing is think about the way business was done back in the day. People didn't always just DM me or text me or what all this shit is, right? So we'll show you later. We actually have this. This is maybe a lesson for all you people who think that online is a way to go. I have note cards, not note cards, but what do you call it? Postcards. The front of it is my logo.
Okay.
The back of it is a postcard. So you come in here, you buy a nice gun from us, we're gonna write you a handwritten letter on a postcard and send it to you a day or two later.
Okay.
That's crazy. You remember getting mail?
Barely.
Yeah, but it still happens.
Yeah.
Personalized mail, not credit card offers.
So, and I'm not trying to sell you anything else. I'm just thanking you for coming in.
So
you know how much that cost me?
50
Maybe
cents,
$1.
60 cents maybe for the
Maybe
postcard and
$1
postage.
afterwards.
Yeah. So I think what that is, I'm gonna push back a little bit. It's not the internet thing. It's taking the extra step, because you can take that extra step on the internet too.
Right.
Congratulations for babies and stuff like that, and just taking an extra step to be a part of these people's lives afterwards, after the sale's done, to develop that relationship.
All right, now you're gonna get crazier now, right? Now here's the thing that other people are doing. Text message marketing, right? It's a fucking thing, man.
I hate it.
You hate it? Guess what?
I hate it.
Guess what?
Deleting all those texts.
Results.
I hate it.
Because you know why?
Why?
Text messages are now what email was 20 years ago. I used to open email. Now, click delete, click delete, click delete. I got like 5,000 junk mail that I've never opened in my Gmail. My Gmail just keeps growing. I think like next week I'll probably have 8,000 unopened mail.
Yeah.
I have no idea what these things say. They could be important. They could be like, my house is burning down. I will never read it. but I will shoot you a text message, and all I'm not flooding you. Which don't get me wrong, I did that. I got my ass busted, if you will.
Yeah.
But you got to, everything's tactful, right?
Right.
And figuring out what it looks like. Like I've got guys that I know that are very successful in business, but guess what? I don't get a handwritten letter.
Right.
I get something that's computer generated, typed up, looks like script, and I'm not gonna lie, I throw it in the trash.
Right.
I don't take the time to read it.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of everything, right? It's learning about what's out there, understanding how to use all this new shit, but rely about the old shit and try to marry it, right?
One thing that's never going to change that you absolutely have talked about a whole lot already is
Communication.
the old way of doing things.
Right.
It's always been about the relationship. If it's 2 minutes to sell a corn dog or 6 months to sell a house,
Right.
it's all the same. It's all the same relationship. As long as you treat those people right and give them good service, they're coming back every time.
Right.
Every time.
Like my big goal, like my goal at the end of the day is to be the store that liberals and hippies come to buy guns. Why?
Based on service.
Because that means that I've done my job and they don't hate me for selling guns. They don't hate me for this political rant, if you will. But when they need something, they know I'm not going to judge them.
Yeah.
But I'll provide them good service.
Right.
I may tell them that, hey, next election, take it easy on us. Right? But at the end of the day, I think that's the perfect world for a crazy ass guy in a little gun shop in Alaska.
And I think you're already sticking your toes in there a little bit by doing those ladies' gun classes
Sure.
and making them feel super comfortable.
Sure.
It's the first step of making a different market feel comfortable coming to Northfork.
Oh yeah, because I can't tell you, I've heard about classes like this person teaches or that person teaches. I'm like, oh dude, yeah, that was super uncomfortable. Well, why?
Yeah.
Well, they're not a woman.
Yeah. Big old burly dude
Right.
with a beard leaning over you trying
Right.
to teach you how to use your body.
Right.
How do you don't understand.
Right, hoping to God he's not really going to touch me because he's super close and creepy, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Beard hair tickling the ear.
We've got,
No
I
bueno.
don't know if you've seen Brooke on our Facebook page at all. So she does, and she started, don't get me wrong, but I support her because I said, well, I kind of pushed her. I said, figure out what you want to do, I'll support it. She's got Girls, Guns, and Coffee.
Okay.
The Girls, Guns, and Coffee, the GGC, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know what that means, but right, GGC.
Sounds good.
I think it's a gang starting. Anyway, they've met like twice. And it kind of slowed down, a lot of stuff happening, summer, winter, all that stuff. We support them with, the targets. We'll give them the guns to take out there and try out so they can try out all things different kind of guns.
So they're meeting at like a gun range.
Well,
bringing coffee.
they'll meet at a coffee store,
Uh-huh.
chit chat, do that girl thing that, we don't understand because we're men, right? And at the end of the day, they're done. They go out to the range, some of them go, some of them don't. And then they shoot, and we provide the guns, the ammo, the targets, and let them have a good time without me getting in the way because, are you married?
No.
No. Okay. Well, you're never gonna teach your wife anything, right? Just like women don't change men. Well, I think they do. I don't think we change them though, right? I think that they're a lot stronger in that fact, right? I can't teach my wife how to shoot, but she'll take instructions from another woman.
Right.
And I can't buy my wife a gun. Ask Luke about that, right? And not talking about just my
I made
wife.
that mistake once.
We both made that same mistake. That's a joke, right? Because how can I know what's gonna feel good for her? How she's going to carry it,
True,
right?
true.
Where she's going to carry it, she's probably not carrying a chest holster, right? Let's just say it, And how's it going to feel in their hand? Because we go, oh look, that's a pink or purple gun.
Yeah.
My wife loves
Look,
that
if
color.
it's small and cute,
It's
you
small
got a
and
blue
cute.
and white
She'll
one,
love
look
it,
at
right? Yeah, there's my
This was actually the exact, not the exact, 'cause I didn't have blue, but this model gun is the exact gun I bought for my wife thinking I knew it all. And
She
she
hated it.
hated it, and I lost money on the gun, traded it for the gun she loved, and she now holds baseball-sized groups at 17 feet all day long.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, that's why women need to sell to women.
Makes sense. No, it makes sense.
But any shop out there that doesn't is crazy.
Yeah.
Like I don't want gun money sitting in my shop because what do people? And when I say gun bunnies, I mean beautiful women, right? Because I don't want somebody to come in here. And now, if she's beautiful and she knows what she's talking about, that's completely different than a gun bunny.
Right.
The term gun bunny in the chauvinistic male gun world is really a beautiful woman, the TNA all hanging out, just looking pretty, smiling, has no idea what even the gun is, so people will come to look at the gun.
To come into the shop.
I don't want that to be about this place.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, same thing with our classes. I don't want our classes to be like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
So,
Keep the service up.
right,
That's what's gonna sell it.
right.
Huh. Well, I don't have anything else. Was there anything else you wanted to throw in there? last minute little shtick if you want to come to Northfork, do any of that fun stuff?
No, I'm getting tired of talking, but honestly, thank y'all for the time. I really appreciate it. I see you've got some followers on the, I think it's Instagram or Facebook.
That's Facebook
Facebook
Live. There's a
Live.
few on there.
Did you want to talk about the G9 thing on the hunting trip coming up real quick or no?
I'll let you talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say, I'm gonna switch spots. I'm gonna let Luke here, and Luke's the pretty face you're gonna see here. So don't be shy and say hi to Luke.
Pretty face. It's
Don't let the beard scare you. Sit down and get cozy.
all right. So before you start talking about that, give me a minute. Who the hell are you?
Luke Howard, moved to Alaska 2.5 years ago. My wife and my 2 kids. Actually, the funny thing is when Eric was talking about how we do business, it's kind of what got me to partner up with him on this whole deal. Is
Okay.
I've done business with other people and had really bad experiences.
Have a good one.
I used to own a company called Elite Protection Investigations. I did bail enforcement and investigation, child recovery, things like that. Took on a guy that was a big talker, oil guy out of Texas, and it went south really fast. And
Okay.
at the same time, I was going through a divorce, and things went south. And so I was really gun shy about, just collaborating with a business with someone instead of owning it myself. Prior to that, I was a foreman for Siemens. I put all the bomb detection systems, conveyor systems in the airports around the U.S. I had a really tragic industrial accident. It crushed my leg, my foot, and put me out of work for almost 8 years. I got diagnosed with a really, really shitty disease called CRPS level 2. And it's one of the ones that, there's not a lot of hope for you. You don't get around much. You're on a lot of medications. Actually, to kind of give some public awareness on this stuff, up to 70% of people who have what I have kill themselves in the first 2 years because the pain is so unimaginable, and doctors, God bless them and everything, they don't know much about it, and it's one of those things they just keep using you as a guinea pig more or less. Here's a spinal injection, take this drug, take that drug, and I'm not a quitter, never been a quitter.
Okay.
Got a great wife who's backed me 100% on this stuff, and even through a lot of my opioid stuff, and then kind of got out of opioids, used alcohol instead just to keep the pain away, and and then on the side, since I wasn't able to work normal jobs, I was building and selling guns. I grew up in the gun. I'm a gun nut. I mean, I'm not saying I know everything about guns, but I'm pretty close to an encyclopedia on most of the stuff, and I've built or played with 90% of the stuff out there, and so that's why Eric and I just kind of melded. A really easy transition. Then I saw the way he did business and his attention to detail and actually the personality part of it where people feel like you give a shit. And that's when I was like, okay, obviously this is a guy I can start to build a relationship with and trust, and we can do something together and be successful.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's a perfect symbiotic relationship. He definitely has more of the online deal. I'm kind of more cowboy. I'm not an Instagram dude, to be honest with you. I didn't have Facebook until...
You take the sexy pictures and then send them his...
I do actually every once in a while. He finally got me set up on that, so I'm starting to catch up in the world of Instagram and advertising and stuff. That's definitely his niche. It's not mine. Mine is the one where I'll bounce some ideas off me. I'll tell you the best cost-effective way to do it and the best results for what you have, and I'll get you a good deal and I'll stand by everything. I start to do a little bit of gunsmithing as well in the shop, pretty minor stuff. And one thing that we're also doing with that is we're trying to get anywhere from 3 to 5 day turnarounds. No more of this stuff, especially for Alaskans, being this is summertime now. We do need our bear defense guns. We do need other guns. We have hunting season coming up. We don't need to wait 3 to 6 months for our guns to get back from the gunsmith.
So if I have a question for you, come in and talk to you. Is there another way to reach you? What's the?
You can either Facebook me, private message me on Facebook, or Eric, Instagram. You can have my phone number. You can text me personally. I'll answer the phone all the time. I mean, that's kind of what we're trying to do here. We're not just when 7 o'clock rolls around. Many nights I'll stay open till 7, 7:30, 7:45. If someone's here, I'm doing business. I'm going to get you squared away, because I do know people have normal jobs, and certain guys they work late. We have road crew, of course, in Alaska. Road crew is a never-ending battle. These guys work till 6, 6:30.
Yeah, especially in the summertime.
Yes, and so if they need me to stay open, I'll stay open. It's not something I'm just going to do all the time. But if I know you're legit and you're going to be here and you're going to do something, and you really need help, I'll stay open. I mean, I'm not a stickler as far as that goes.
So you said message on Facebook and Instagram. That's it. Northfork Supply, just the business Facebook page. You'll be able to reach you?
Yeah, Northfork Supply LLC, and then I guess back to my deal is on the side I was building and selling guns. And then when I was living in Oregon at the time, Oregon passed a law prohibiting private transfers.
Okay.
And even prohibiting a lot of other stuff. Oregon has gone way off the deep end, and so it kind of stopped me from being able to make money for my family, being that I was disabled. I wasn't the kind of guy that I wanted to take Social Security. Everyone was like, why don't you, blah, 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 blah. I was like, dude, I'm too young and I still can do something. I still have some worth, you know, in myself. And so my wife and I kind of talked, and it was to the point where we're working on my settlement for my leg. I finally got my settlement and everything like that. And we said, let's wipe the last 7 years off the books. Okay. You know, let's start new, let's start fresh.
Right. Clean slate.
Clean slate, fully clean slate. My wife works in the medical field, so she has the ability to pretty much go anywhere and get a job.
Okay.
And so we put her resume in Wyoming, which I call home. Even though I've only lived there for a short time, it's the place I find the most peace and love, and it's amazing.
You just know.
Yeah, Wyoming's just, it's heaven for me.
Uh-huh.
We put her resume in Wyoming, New Mexico, and Alaska.
Okay.
And 4 hours after she put her resume in for Alaska said, how soon can you be up here? And we'll make it worth your while. So
Perfect.
They paid to move us up here. They gave us a big sign-on bonus. They gave us petty cash. They had 30 days free rent, 30 days free car rental. It was ridiculous. It was like, obviously this is where we're meant to be. And
Can't say
so
no to that.
we got up here and I started doing little things on the side. I started doing little gun stuff on the side. I got hooked up with a couple little sites and stuff like that. And then I was just enjoying life. I was actually falling in love with life again, I guess is the best way to say it. I got hooked up with some really good fishing guys around here and some hunting guys. Christian Washburn, a really good friend of mine, kind of just got me back into the land of the living, if you will. I mean, he knows my limitations. He knew kind of what was going on, and you know, I got happier here. It's Alaskan has always been my dream. I was a big bow hunter for years. I know and have hunted with some pretty big names in the industry. I actually have one of the biggest Roosevelt elk ever harvested. I'm like #2 in the world.
Okay.
And so, you know, hunting was a big part of my life too. So it was kind of trying to figure out how I could do that here and kind of get into everything I love here. And then when I met Eric, it was like, this just made sense. And let's make a go of this. Let's open a badass store that people want to come hang out and people want to spend some money. And they trust us in the fact when we say a reason a gun is here is because we either believe in it. We're not going to sell something we don't believe in. We shoot these things. We actually play with these things, which for me is a dream in my things. I mean, at the time, I never had much money to put my hands on, you know, $5,300 Wilsons and $4,000 STIs and $4,000 and $5,000 gun crafters, and we got some other stuff coming in that's even just amazing, truly amazing. And so, Eric and I hit it off. Things are going good. We finally got the store going. The store was a lot of work. We kind of refinished everything: new floors, new paint, new hold-up walls. We're also vendors for these hold-up walls you see behind us. Very cool system, modular, easy to bang up. Very affordable for what it is for everyone that wants their own little John Wick room in their closet or however you want to put it.
That would be awesome to have in your closet.
Oh yeah, and one of these setups, actually the one right there you see there that comes with the full setup, you could actually get one of these systems for $450 shipped up here. Okay. Because the shipping isn't bare. We live in Alaska, it's what we deal with.
Looks like we're struggling. I don't know what just happened.
Are we good?
Yeah, I guess they're trying to reconnect, so.
And the other thing I was going to push, this is one thing I wanted to push more than anything, is G9 ammunition. Josh Mankey in Colorado, guy is a genius. The guy is making revolution. I don't know if I can kind of show you guys what we got here. Josh has got this stuff. It's plus P, some of it's plus P, some of it's standard, but it's much faster. It's kind of rewriting the logic on ammunition, but it's keeping a little bit lighter bullets, the higher bullet coefficiencies and higher speeds. And so you're getting that energy through your speed, your velocity, because you know energy is mass times velocity squared. So you can multiply certain things and kind of fudge the data with some of this stuff. And so, and actually Josh is making a line specifically for Alaska that I'm going to go test here in about 5 days. In KP. Well, I'm not. No, I can't really say where I'm going, but it's secret squirrel hunting ground. But I'm gonna go. We're gonna go hunting because I've always wanted to kill a brown bear. I've always wanted to harvest a brown bear. Excuse me. And after I harvest the brown bear, I'm actually gonna do real-time video of testing 9mm bullets that Josh has developed, tested, and stands by to make 9mm viable brown bear protection. And that doesn't just count for people here in Alaska. This is for people in Montana, people in Idaho. All the bow hunters that are having big attacks out there. You know, most of your bow hunters do carry a sidearm because you're out in the woods and you need. I mean, it's a dangerous game.
A bow hunter carrying a 9mm right now is like a tickle to a bear. Like
sometimes, yeah, but some of the bears, especially in Montana. I mean, every time we hear about Montana attacks, we hear about Alaska attacks, we hear about Idaho every once in a while. And so, to be honest, the funny thing is, the reason I was really trying to focus on this is you guys were talking about the women market, what we're trying to hit. Most women aren't going to sit there and hold a Glock 20 or a Ruger Super Red Hawk in a 44 mag or a 454 Casull or a 500 Smith & Wesson. No, they're not. You know, one, it's just hand strength, two, it's recoil. I'm not saying women can't handle it, but it's not a good time. It's not even a good time for me. I don't enjoy shooting them. And so if someone smaller, someone who doesn't do a lot of shooting or doesn't just go pull out a Dirty Harry and just start shooting for practice, to be able to be not only quick enough but effective enough for, God forbid, a charging brown bear or even a charging moose, because we know moose are just almost as dangerous, if not more dangerous. Why not with their carry weapon that they have trained with, whether it be through us or through someone else? Why not be something that those hikers who go to Flat Top or go to other place like that can have a concealable weapon and still feel safe and not have this giant Dirty Harry where you do have people look at you like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why do you gotta have, you know, this monster gun on you? And so I'm gonna test this stuff real time. I'm gonna 3 yards, 7 yards, 10 yards, and see what kind of penetration we get through the skull and spinal column. I'm gonna take some fiberglass dowels with measuring marks, and we're gonna measure in what kind of penetration we're getting in. Josh, the stand-up guy, I'm pretty sure we're actually probably gonna exceed what he's telling me, but if we can turn 9mm into viable brown bear protection, a lot of husbands will feel safer when their wives want to go jogging or things like that, to where they can be squared away.
It means more than just the size of the gun too.
It does.
Like, you're thinking recoil, you're thinking all of the portions of shooting a gun. The fact that you can have a smaller weapon and still be lethal with it for a charging brown bear.
Well, actually, that's the beautiful thing about this stuff. The G9 ammunition actually has, on average, 20 to 30% less recoil than a standard caliber, and yet you're way fast. Our 45 ACP is cruising at 1,400 feet per second. Your standard, it's right at 1,000. I mean, that's why most 45s you can put a suppressor on them, and they're quiet because they're subsonic round. And so, you know, this stuff is revolutionary. I mean, Josh Mankey out in Colorado with G9 ammunition, he's definitely got his stuff together, and he's bringing some stuff up here that's really going to revolutionize hiking and living in Alaska safely. And so
someone interested in this ammunition and interested in following that story, or that you're testing and figuring out those results, how do they do that?
It's going to be on, we're going to do it on YouTube, and we're also going to do it probably, I don't know if we're going to do it Facebook Live. We still have to figure out kind of the legalities and who we're going to upset by doing this kind of testing. It is going to be strictly scientific. It's not going to be redneck, yeah, we killed this bear, now we're just going to blow it away. It's going to be to show people that if we're saying you can trust this product, especially with your life, that real time, no editing, independent. We're completely independent. I'm not paid by Josh. We're not paid by Josh to do this.
We actually pay him.
Yeah, we actually pay him for the ammo. We actually pay Josh for the ammo.
So,
but
YouTube.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to collaborate with Josh. I'm going to kind of script it out to where we get all the pertinent information across and make sure that we stay within the parameters of what is tactful, tasteful, and makes people understand why we're doing what we're doing and stand behind our product. And not only that, but give them the confidence to where if they go out in the woods, especially this time of year that bears are out now more, they're out of hibernation, they're getting hungry, where salmon are going to start running. This is something that, like I said, you know, husbands, a lot of women in Alaska, they like to hike, they like to fish, like the berry pick. Berries will come out soon. And a lot of husbands tell you the truth. I'm one of those husbands. I get nervous when my wife says I'm going to go pick berries with her friends. I'm like, well, take your gun. And right now, it's a 9mm. But she has this stuff. She actually does carry this stuff right now. But it would be nice to know that this is mainly made for home defense and personal carry. Zero barrier blind, but it doesn't have the penetration that you need for a brown bear. The new stuff, the outdoorsman line and the woodsman line, whole different story. Whole different story, whole different bullet. And after testing this stuff and see it for myself, my wife says I'm gonna go berry picking, and I know she's confident. She's very confident with the weapon. She's scary. I mean, she gets it done. So same with my daughter. My daughter Savannah is. I actually gave her one of my weapons because we took her out shooting. She pulled in a 1 inch, actually less than about a half-inch group at 100 yards, and I kind of did that sigh like, well, now it's yours because you shoot it better than I do.
Damn it.
And so, this is the thing. Just keep watching us. We'll do the G9 stuff. We'll put some advertisements out for it. It will be a tactful video. It will not be distasteful. It won't be anything like that. But it will show you the naysayers and the doubters that 9mm could actually be viable brown bear protection, and I think it's something that a lot of husbands, a lot of wives, a lot of everyone can get behind. And not only in Alaska, we do have the big bears here, and we do have the other problems here, but Montana, Idaho, other places like that, and we are the vendors for G9 in Alaska. Josh has kind of given us his word that we're going to be the guys to carry stuff. We believe in it. Josh is the coolest guy in the world. I've had conversations till 2 a.m. with the guy about ballistics and things like that. Just a really stand-up guy. The guy's he's like us. He's going to stand behind his product. He's going to actually answer his phone when you call. You're not just going to go to his website and email me, and maybe in a few days I'll talk to you. Josh is a really stand-up guy, and so
Again, that niche.
yeah.
Well, you don't always carry the ammo, right?
Yep.
Little man love going on, but we don't do that.
So keep watching Northfork Supply on Facebook. Is it YouTube Northfork Supply too, where you can do the?
We have one set up. We're starting to get back. To be honest with you, YouTube's hard on gun guys too. Just like what Eric was talking about, PayPal shuts down, other things like that. So we have to get our YouTube channel back up, and we need to kind of educate ourselves to where we still can give informative information and not get slammed and banned and all the other BS we have to deal with being gun guys.
Just to run a business.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not even talking about. We're not trying to be illegal. We're just trying to run a business.
Yeah.
So what I'll say is follow them on Northfork Supply, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all of the social platforms. And then you guys let me know too when you have that stuff coming out. So these people that are watching that are interested, I'll share it on my page. That way, if you can't get it out or whatever it needs to be to get it in front of people, we'll spread the word.
We'll blow you up in the Insta face.
Perfect.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much, like I said, the hunt will be the big thing. Come get this ammunition from us. It's even just for personal protection. This stuff is.
And it's cheaper than Hornady.
It is cheaper than Hornady. I mean, it's not only cheaper than Hornady, but it's more effective. It's zero barrier blind. If you actually just Google or YouTube G9 ammunition, they have guys pulling like 2 and 3 inch groups through a car windshield.
Okay.
Through a windshield.
Okay.
Yeah, this stuff is.
Can we get the box in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even fancy.
Where's the camera there?
Go ahead and flip it around where you see the feet per second. Switch it right.
That side?
Nope.
Is that where's?
I'll show you.
Right there.
That one. There it is.
That's 45 ACP
That's
at
117 grain.
1,400 feet per second. So I mean, and this guy tests stuff. I mean, he has Doppler radar testing. I mean, this guy knows his stuff. I mean,
Perfect.
I thought I knew about reloading and ballistics and things like that. Talking to Josh, I feel like I'm in kindergarten again. I mean, but he doesn't make you feel uncomfortable. He just this guy lives, eats, breathes ballistics, and he knows his stuff hands down. And he's just cool to talk to, and he will answer your phone calls. So any other questions you have, YouTube G9 ammo. Guns America did a great video on it as well, showing the penetration of a 9mm. I mean, fist-sized holes coming out of pork butts. I mean, it's no
gross.
joke.
I mean, it's just gnarly.
Yeah.
It's no joke. This stuff is, and not only that, but with the fin stuff, it doesn't allow for full pass-throughs and collateral damage in a self-protection deal. Because people who actually carry religiously, our biggest fear is actually having to shoot someone or having to protect ourselves. That is our biggest fear, because we know litigation, civil suits, and God forbid if you're in a crowded area where something goes down, one of your bullets passes through and injures
Someone else.
an innocent or a collateral damage or anything like that. And so this actually takes a lot of that out of the game as well, because with the fluting, it causes the hydraulic shock and the deal, but then it almost like a boat wash, and the propeller stops in a fluid medium. It'll punch through bone, it'll punch through car windows, car doors. When it hits a fluid medium, these fins act as like a reversible boat propeller and stops. But it also causes the same thing like when you see a boat propeller, being that from Alaska everyone has boats, you watch that wash when you start doing it. That wash is basically what it does to a cavity once it hits fluid. And so that's, instead of cutting in the lead damage, you get so much more pressure damage, which is way more devastating than slicing. And then not have the pass-through and not have the collateral damage. So this stuff is the only thing I'll carry from now on.
Okay.
I mean, it's in my personal weapon. It's in my wife's personal weapon. I stand by it wholeheartedly. I believe in it. So.
Well, if you couldn't tell anything from this video, these guys are passionate about what they're doing in here.
For sure.
All about quality, all about taking care of the people.
Yeah.
Right? All about safety too, it seems like.
No, our customers are actually, anyone that's watching this video, our customers, you guys are amazing. You guys come in, it's great conversation. Sometimes a little rough. Sometimes a lot of four-letter words, but this place is definitely a man/woman cave. It doesn't, believe it or not, we're not biased towards either. Come, joke with us, laugh with us, be as politically incorrect as possible.
Perfect.
This is freedom. If you've seen some of our posts, I mean, you can pretty much see an American flag almost in every one of our posts. This place is freedom. And like Eric was saying, if you lean left, I don't give a shit. If you want just some information, you want to come here and you want to get a nice knife for hiking, if you want to get a bear protection weapon, ammunition, whatever like that, this place, you can be as politically incorrect as you want. You can be just who you want to be. You can ask dumb questions and we're not going to call you names or snoot or, you know, I'll try to remember your names. I'm not as good with names as I used to be. I'll try to remember your first name base. I will shake your hand right off the get-go. I mean, this is a place where even if you don't buy anything, come tell me what you want to build. Come tell me what you are building. Come tell me what you dream about. And if I can help you in any way, shape, form, I will. So
That's awesome.
And today we got pizza for free.
yeah,
Deal.
not that I need it.
So all of the contact information we won't put in the video. I'll just put it in all the stuff afterwards. YouTube,
Yeah.
Facebook. So we're gonna be on Facebook Live here.
Okay.
It's gonna be on the Alex the Real Estate YouTube channel, and there's a podcast. So it'll be in all those places.
Awesome.
So that's it. Thanks for doing it, guys.
Thanks,
Hey, I
man.
appreciate it.
Till next time.
Thanks, guys.